Hello, this is Algebra 1. These are the notes on Chapter 9, Section 1, about adding and subtracting polynomials, and then also parts of Section 2, which involves multiplying binomials. Let's get started. First of all, here we have a definition of how polynomials work. These are some example polynomials. Later on, we'll have some example not polynomials, but that won't be today. Okay, adding polynomials. All you really need to do is drop the parentheses and then add them together. For example, in this first problem, the parentheses around the 9x squared plus 4x plus 6 gets dropped. And then you drop the parentheses around the x squared minus 2x plus 4. And then finally, to get the final answer, you'll add like terms. 9x squared plus x squared is 10x squared. 4x minus 2x is 2x. 6 plus 4 is 10. Done. Subtracting polynomials. Same basic idea at the beginning. Drop the parentheses. So 2x squared minus 5x plus 1. However, when it comes to the second one, it's like there's a negative 1 in front. That will need to distribute in. So that turns the negative 5x squared into positive 5x squared, and it turns the positive 3 into negative 3. Finally, go ahead and add like terms to finish it up. 2x squared and 5x squared is 7x squared. Negative 5x has no friends, so it stays as negative 5x. 1 and negative 3 make negative 2. All right, here's our first example together. We begin by dropping the parentheses around 6a squared minus 5a plus 2, and then dropping the parentheses around the 5a minus 2. Boom. And you add like terms. You have 6a squared plus 0a plus 0, which is correct, but it looks better if you write 6a squared. Now, on the right, begin by dropping the parentheses around the first polynomial, so it becomes 4x squared minus 3x minus 1. And since this is subtraction, we'll go ahead and multiply the second polynomial by negative 1, which flips the signs around. So it becomes minus 6x squared minus 2x, and then plus 1. Now we'll go ahead and add like terms. So 4x squared, negative 6x squared makes negative 2x squared. Negative 3x and negative 2x makes negative 5x. Negative 1 plus 1 makes 0. There's a correct answer, but if you want your answer to look better, you might change it to negative 2x squared minus 5x. All right, here's another example. This one looks a little different. We've got polynomials in different spots, but it begins with a 6. Well, the 6 isn't interesting, so we can just rewrite the 6. Now we have negative 1 distributing into the 4x plus 1, so it turns that into minus 4x minus 1. And then that minus 2x is just hanging out at the end. And when you combine like terms, you end up with minus 6x plus 5. Now this next one, on the right here, is a little more interesting. Here we go. That 2a squared distributes to the first polynomial, so that makes 10a to the third minus 12a squared. Then for the next one, negative 5a distributes, so it becomes negative 5a to the third plus 15a squared minus 20a. And then finally, that negative 7 distributes to make negative 7a plus 35. Now if we add like terms, I'll go a little bit more slowly here because there's a whole lot of stuff going on. 10a cubed and negative 5a cubed together add to 5a cubed. Negative 12a squared and 15a squared add together to make 3a squared. Negative 20a minus 7a are like terms. That creates negative 27a. And then finally 35 is lonely, but it should still be included as well. So it ends in plus 35. Okay, now We have these to try on your own, so please go ahead and try number 1. As you can see, I got a little exuberant and I started for you, but try number 1 on your own. I'll wait a few seconds so you can pause the video, try it yourself, and come back and see how well you did. Alright, so the 8x, then the negative 1 distributes to make negative 10x minus 2. And then when you combine like terms, that makes negative 2x minus 2, and you're done. Okay, now go ahead and please try number 2 on your own. Again, I'll wait a few seconds so you can pause the video, and come back as soon as you've given it a go. It's okay, I'll wait. Okay, here you have that x distributing in the first bit, so it makes x squared plus 2x. Okay, and then you have negative x squared minus 2x just hanging out at the end. Combining like terms makes 0x squared and 0x. But if you want to look good with your answer, you just write 0. Okay, next is number 3. Please try it on your own. Pause the video. I'll wait a few seconds so you can pause the video. Try it on your own. Come back. See how well you did. Alright, at the beginning, that 3x distributes, makes 3x squared minus 3x. And then negative 5x squared minus x, just hanging out at the end. When we're combining like terms near the end, 3x squared minus 5x squared makes negative 2x squared, and then negative 3x minus x makes negative 4x. Alright, last one for this first half. Please go ahead, pause the video, and try number 4 on your own. Then come back and check your work. Okay, so negative 3x squared multiplies to make negative 15x cubed minus 12x squared. Then negative 3x multiplies to make negative 3x to the third plus 6x squared minus 9x. Finally, negative 5 distributes to make negative 5x minus 10. If you combine like terms, you make negative 18x cubed minus 6x squared minus 14x minus 10. Alright, there you have it. That's the first half. That includes section 9.1 and a little bit of section 9.2, which I thought belonged better in with those first set of problems. But now we have multiplying binomials. This is some real work. We work through this acronym called FOIL. Read the page would be a good idea, and then if you follow along at the bottom. 2x multiplies by the x, this is the f part in FOIL, and then 2x multiplies by the negative 4, that's the outside or the O part, and then the 3 multiplies by the x, those are the inside terms, so that's the I part, and then 3 multiplies by negative 4, those are the last terms. If you multiply 2x times x, the red, it's 2x squared. If you multiply 2x times negative 4, it's negative 8x. If you multiply 3 times x, it's 3x. And 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Finally, at the very end, you go ahead and add the like terms to make 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. There we have it. Okay, here's another example. New problem. Same idea. The first terms are x and x. The outside terms are x and negative 2. The inside terms are 2 and x. And the last terms are 2 and negative 2. Multiplying the red, or the first terms, made x squared. Multiplying the outside terms made negative 2x. Multiplying the inside terms makes positive 2x. Multiplying the last terms makes negative 4. If you add like terms together, negative 2x plus 2x makes nothing. So it's really just x squared minus 4. Okay. Here we go. Let's FOIL some new ones. So we have x times x, which is x squared. Then x times 3, 3x. then negative 4x, and finally negative 12. So the x squared is just x squared. The x terms combine to make minus 1x, and then minus 12. And if you want to make your answer look a little bit better, x squared minus x minus 12. Okay, on the right, 3x times 4x makes 12x squared. 3x times negative 3, negative 9x. 2 times 4x is 8x. And 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So 12x squared is alone. The x terms combine to make minus 1x, and the minus 6 is alone. And if you want your answer to look just a little bit better, you might rewrite it as 12x squared minus x minus 6. Okay, down on the left, x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. X squared is alone. The 5x's add to 0x, because one was negative and one was positive, minus 25. Done. Okay, now down on the right, it's a little more interesting because x plus 4 in parentheses squared really means it's multiplied by itself. And now, having written it out as multiplied by itself, we can start foiling. X times x, x times 4, 4 times x, 4 times 4. Okay, combining like terms, x squared, 8x, and 16. Boom, there we have it. Now, excuse me, we'll go back a little bit here. I got overly excited again. Please try number 1 on your own. Pretend you didn't see any of that. But go ahead and try number 1 on your own. I'll wait a few seconds. You can pause the video and then come back and check your work. Okay, x squared minus 7x plus 2x minus 14, combining like terms, makes x squared minus 5x minus 14. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at what's going on number 2. Again, please pause the video, try it yourself first, then come back and see how well you did. Okay, x times x is x squared, x times negative 2, negative 2x, positive 2x, and then negative 4. The x's combine to 0x, and then if you want to have your answer look super nice, you write x squared minus 4. But the line above it with the 0x is also acceptable. Okay, number 3. Go ahead, try it yourself, pause the video, try it yourself. I'll still be here when you come back. Okay, 5x times 2x is 10x squared. 5x times 3, 15x. Negative 1 times 2x, negative 2x. And negative 1 times 3, negative 3. Combining like terms, 10x squared, 13x minus 3. Finally, number 4. There's a little trick to beginning it. Went over that in the last section. But try it yourself. Pause the video, try it yourself. I'll still be here when you come back to check your work. Alright, so the whole thing squared meant x minus 3 times x minus 3. And then we can FOIL, F, O, I, and finally L, combining like terms. And we have our answer. Alright, that's it for these notes. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions.